this is Ferro, and welcome to Endeavour Night, only here on the letter M. I am definitely gonna get punched in the face right now.
No, I so wish I could do a British accent.
You can't do a British accent. Oh my gosh!
You know what's funny? It's, the funny thing is that I've been always taught in school British accent.
Oh.
Like I grew up being taught British accent. Like that's all we hear in schools back home.
In Romania?
Yeah, but I never picked on the accent. Never. I don't know why.
How come Razvan wasn't able to pick up on the accent?
I don't know if he.
Wow.
Well, he was very little when he.
Yeah,
came
he was
to
very
the
little
States.
when he came here.
But
Razvan is my roommate, by the way.
But yeah, I never picked on the accent.
Wow.
And I don't know. There's some sort of I guess maybe. There's a tendency to reject the British accent because it's hard to speak it if it's not your, I don't know. It doesn't sound natural.
I don't know. I just use my nose. It's like
no. The American accent seems or feels more natural than the British accent.
I think it's because like we watch a lot of American movies, though.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah, I never picked on it.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
We're here for Endeavour Night, so as you've heard with my British accent, we're doing Endeavour Night here in the letter M. So you know, okay, so we're doing a British accent. So by the way, my guest is very special, as regal as the Queen of England herself, Adelina Ghilea.
I am his boss, that's true.
Yeah, but that's not the only reason why she's regal, and you know, she carries herself like a princess and she acts like a queen. So
they can be either good or not so good.
Well, I mean, it kind of like depends, I guess, on the culture. If you're British like me, then of course being compared to the queen is quite awesome.
Actually, did I tell you that I'm looking at going into grad school in London?
Yeah, this is like hashtag road to Benedict Cumberbatch.
I said Benedict Cumberbatch officially is known to have a girlfriend.
Okay, if she doesn't have a ring, you're still fine.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, you know, it's like, yeah, and actually there's a story at Moody Stories which would deal with that. So we have 3 Moody Stories tonight.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so if you would want to be involved in our conversation tonight about Endeavour, so in a few we're going to give you Endeavour pretty much.
Has anyone ever actually heard of Endeavour?
I don't know.
That
like
is the question.
even the guys on the floor, they're like, "What's that?" And like, it's kind of like Sherlock mixed with Mad Men. That's what I tell them.
I went looking for it.
Yeah, how did you hear of this series? She was the one who suggested this to me. I'm like, okay, I'll check it out.
And then he enjoyed it.
It's really amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I binge watched this for, like, an entire Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, here's the deal.
Skipped food and everything. It was like...
I knew it.
It was that good.
And also, if, by the way, for all of you out there, if Van says that this was good, it means it was good.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
He's a very good critic.
Yeah. When you've
movies
been working in
and
the
shows.
industry for a long time, yeah.
Yeah, I am a big fan of detective stories.
Yeah,
Like,
so procedurals. Like,
I love detective stories. Even this summer, I went home, and the first 2 weeks, all I did was read detective novels.
oh my gosh.
I think I read like 5 or 6 within 2 weeks.
Yeah, and if you're going to remember, Adelina was also our guest for Sherlock Night.
Exactly.
So that was like the night that we didn't. We weren't able to watch Sherlock because there's like a gazillion of them. So she was the only one who watched the series, and me and Andrew were like,
"Oh, now you're telling me."
So we learned a lot.
Now.
No, we learned a lot, and like you know, and like I actually started watching. I'm actually done. I'm waiting for the next one.
Wow.
Yeah.
You acted very well.
Huh?
You acted very well. I couldn't
That's
tell.
why I'm an actor. It's like, yeah, no, but this one I really like. I really watched it.
So it was really. I enjoy watching TV shows. It's just like it's really easy to watch them. Like you have, you have a break, and you can just as you do something, as you eat or something. I don't know. You can watch a TV show meanwhile. So I just literally went looking on PBS.
On PBS. You
what
get
was
PBS on your room?
No, just PBS website.
Oh, just like website. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was PBS or just Amazon. I don't know. No, no, it was Masterpiece. It was Masterpiece.
Yeah.
So I just like looked at the list of shows, And I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
And I watched both seasons, the pilot episode and the 2 seasons in 1 week, which is a big deal for me.
Yeah, because Endeavour is a TV series. It has 1 pilot episode and it has 4 episodes for each series. So just to give you a little bit of a background, if you haven't heard of Endeavour, so I think we're going to be hipsters tonight, because I think there's going to be like one show that's going to be a hit in the future, and then we can look back and say like, yeah, we discovered it.
We discovered. You know what? We should probably start with Inspector Morse, because that might be a bit more familiar than the name Endeavour. Yeah,
because Endeavour is Endeavour Morse. So Endeavour Morse is the Inspector Morse. We have a call?
We have a call.
Already? Oh my gosh.
I don't know what's going on. Okay,
so teach me how to do this. Okay.
You just...
So I guess I turn on...
You keep talking.
Okay, so I'm going to keep talking. So we have a phone in. That's weird. Okay, so I think I turned on Hybrid 2.
He's on air.
So...
Just line 1.
Okay, so what do I turn up? Hybrid 1 or Hybrid 2?
Hybrid 1.
Hybrid 1. Okay. Okay. Who's on the air? Can you please?
Who's there?
Hello?
Hello.
Yes! Oh my gosh! We have a phone in! Oh my gosh! Okay.
Do you recognize the voice?
I don't recognize the voice.
Oh my land!
No.
You gotta recognize the voice.
Okay. Can you talk again?
Okay. You start singing "Happy Birthday." Maybe that will make him realize who it is.
Who is this?
What voice should I sing it in?
Oh my gosh, I thought you forgot. He didn't greet me yesterday.
Oh, Andrew, just so you know, he's about to start crying. So, say all of your wise words.
Oh.
You guys, I wish you would see him.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I was like waiting for a text, because usually he's like, "Oh, I'll always be like the last one to greet," and like nothing. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
So, what do you have to tell Van on this special occasion?
Happy birthday!
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I wish I was here. We do things on my birthday, so
I know.
Do you guys, the two of you, have any sort of tradition?
We don't. I mean, last year we went out for steak, so I'm kind of high maintenance. So yeah,
that brings back really great memories.
Yeah, and then like yesterday we went to the Happy Cafe at Chinatown. So and then they gave me a gift that's like inside a Victoria's Secret bag. So now I have to carry this bag all over Chinatown. So don't worry, there was nothing Victoria's Secret inside the Victoria's Secret handbag. So yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so they gave me menthol powder, Toblerone, and a bottle of sparkling cider. Yeah.
Cool.
So, well, I mean, it's like I'm gonna celebrate it with Andrew when I get there in a month. So,
Andrew, do you miss us?
I do very much.
I know. I talk to him every week, and like every time I talk to him, it's just like, Andrew, I miss you and stuff. And...
you'll be here in 18 days.
Wait, is it really just 18 days?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he's counting down.
Oh, he's counting. He's probably like marking his wall right now. Yeah, So we're going to celebrate it when I come back there. So if you want to come, you're invited too.
You are invited.
Oh, thank you guys.
For fall break, yeah.
Oh.
So that way you can see like, Connellsville, Pennsylvania. It's an awesome place.
Wait, when is this again?
When is fall break?
Fall break.
Yeah.
October 17th.
Oh, right after missions conference.
Right after missions conference. So like that night I'm leaving pretty much. So like Friday night I'm leaving. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Andrew, for calling in and surprising our beloved.
I didn't know he knew how to call in.
Host.
Because
I had help.
No, because you're usually the person who like operates a phone.
I know. I had some help in doing that, so.
I was like, wow, who's calling in for Endeavour night? And like they're all watching the magic show and like Joe. So
hey, listen, I had help from a special person.
Oh, are we going to mention this special person on air?
No, let's not mention.
Let's not mention this special person on air. So, did this special person, did she text you back?
Called.
Oh! Okay, we're talking more about this tomorrow. Yeah,
No,
there are
but,
some things that we can talk about on air.
No, but seriously, on a very serious note, we want to take the time and
Yeah.
do celebrate you on air.
Aw,
because
thank you.
You have filled the airwaves with your presence for the past, 3 years?
Yeah, oh my gosh.
3 years.
I'm old.
You have,
It's like...
yeah, you have done a great job. And
Yeah,
we
I've been
really-
here since Les Dugan was like a programming director, and she's graduated now working for Moody Radio.
I was there too when she was there.
Yeah, Liz was our... Yeah, oh
It
my
wasn't
gosh.
that long ago when Liz was still here.
Yeah.
I was actually program director. I got to program direct with her at the same time for like a couple of months.
Yeah, that's true. So, wow. Oh my gosh.
But anyway,
we're getting
this is
old.
about you. So happy birthday!
Aw, thank you. Oh, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
So, if you want to send your birthday gifts, you can let us know on Facebook.
Yeah,
No,
or just
kidding.
just post on Facebook. Just really drop by and say happy birthday.
Aw,
But,
that is so sweet.
Yeah, Andrew, thanks for being with us.
Watching Sleepy Hollow right now, by the way.
What?
No,
Oh!
wait. No, you should be watching Endeavour. Go
Endeavour.
watch
I was telling him
Endeavour.
about Endeavour, and it's like, where is that? Amazon Prime. So, do you know you get like 30 free days on Amazon Prime?
Yes,
So
I'm trying to save that for a special time.
Wait, when is the special time?
Let's not get into this on air.
What?
Yeah, let's not get into this.
Okay,
See, he agrees
we'll talk
with-
about this tomorrow.
All right. Well, getting
Okay.
back to our discussion.
All right, thank you very much. I love you.
Love you too, guys.
Alright.
See you guys later.
Bye. Okay, wow. Thank you very much. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, it's like one of those. Oh,
I have never ever seen you get emotional until today.
well, it's Andrew. So,
how about me?
huh?
What about me?
Well, I mean, it's like, okay, this is the thing. This is like a moody relationship thing. Like, you can't be emotional in front of a girl. Because, like, you know, you never know if the girl's going to think, like, oh, am I into her or something? And, like, we'll talk more about that in Moody
I
Stories.
just told you like 10 minutes ago that we look awkward
Okay.
because you're shorter
Yeah,
than me.
this girl is like, oh, we look awkward in the picture. And, like, why? I never take an awkward picture. And she's like, no, because you're shorter than me in the picture. And, like, oh, wow. I don't know if it's, like, racist, sexist, or what. But, you know, whatever.
It's
It's
just
like,
stating the fact.
yeah, but it's like, I don't know. Like, usually with like other people, I can hold it, but like with Andrew, it's just, you know. And I mean, it's because like we've been really close. Like, you know,
very
we've
true.
been through like thick and thin together. We've had arguments over girls and all that. So yeah,
Ooh.
we have a lot of history.
Really?
So yeah,
Mm.
mostly it's me telling him to like just ask her out, and it would devolve into an argument, and you know, yeah. But we don't have that right now, so that's good.
So getting back to Inspector Morse.
Okay, Inspector Morse. Okay, so Inspector Morse. So, Inspector Morse is one of the very well-known detectives in not only in British television, but I think even in British popular media. Because even right now, I was looking over different detective stories that are on television right now. So they have Sherlock, they have Inspector Morse, and they also have Miss Marple from Agatha Christie's novels. So they have like a lot of these, and Inspector Morse, the series started in, I think it's in ITV, in 1987, and it has been popular ever since. So Endeavour is the prequel to the Inspector Morse series.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm. So, Endeavour.
Actually-
So, what is Endeavour about? I mean, I kind of know, but like, you know, for the benefit of our audience, who's not yet crazed up in Endeavour right now. So, by the way, don't start watching Endeavour as of right now, because you will get distracted and then you're not going to listen to us. So,
Of course. No,
yeah.
you're first listening to the show.
Yeah,
and
you're
then
first listening to the
like
letter
that
M.
watching Endeavour, yeah.
We'll give you a primer.
Also, funny fact. I actually started by watching it in a bit of an awkward way because I started with season 1. I went to season 2, and then I realized, oh, there was a pilot episode before all of that. So it was interesting, though, to do that and just going back, because while, you know, I had gone through like 8 different episodes,
Yeah.
I was still surprised by some of the facts in the pilot episode. which is interesting because normally, it develops in such a way that, the next episode explains or kind of sheds more light on what had happened previously. But there's really great amount of mystery in every episode.
Yeah.
That it's never solved. And that's the catchy part, I think, about Endeavour. One of the catchiest parts, because it's that unresolved mystery, tension, even conflict sometimes.
And I feel like for every episode, okay, I kind of know something about Endeavour, but I don't feel like I know him. So I want to come back next week and in my case, I want to come back in an hour because I'm binge watching this. So, I want to come back again just to see if he's going to reveal more of himself. And I think for a lot of procedurals, especially American procedurals like NCIS or anything, that's something that they don't that they're not pursuing because they're all after you have to know the characters, you have to identify with the characters, and the cases are just side stories.
But
it's so I don't know if it's a cultural thing. What do you think? I mean, you're from that part of the world, so.
Well, I am from that part of the world, but I'm from the eastern part of the world, not the western.
Oh yeah, that's a big
You see, it's interesting because we are talking about mystery, and we are talking about that unresolved mystery. But there's also a real. There is a sense of reality to the character. There is a bunch of realness.
Yeah.
Within these procedurals, right?
Yeah.
And it's just you can still relate. You can still relate to the characters. Yet have that mystery, unresolved mystery left in there.
Yeah, and when we discuss different episodes that we liked later on, you're going to get a hold of this mystery. So just like what we told you, so Endeavour is a British series. It's produced by ITV and PBS through its masterpiece series, and. If you want to get involved again in our conversation about Endeavour, you can go to our Facebook page at theletterm.mcr or go to our Twitter page at theletterm on MCR. So that's actually something that I didn't notice. Our Facebook page is actually theletterm.mcr, and I've been telling people for 2 years it's the letter M on MCR.
Hey, they still found you.
Yeah, we have 220 likes. Yeah.
More to come, hopefully.
I know, more to come. Yeah, we're the most liked page.
By the way, did you know that the writer of Inspector Morse, the detective novel, is still alive?
He is still alive.
Colin Dexter.
Yep. And is it his 100th birthday or 86? Somebody posted on the Endeavour page because we were also following the Endeavour page. There's a lot of fan guys and everyone. 84th. It's his 84th birthday today.
And I don't remember.
I guess tomorrow for them. It's today for them, but
really?
It's tomorrow for us. So
really?
it's Colin Dexter's 84th birthday.
Happy birthday, sir.
Happy birthday, sir.
There you go. we should write him a birthday note and tell him that we just talked about him.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean, it's most likely, the people who's on these pages are listening to us right now. So,
I was actually trying to remember. Colin Dexter actually has a couple of appearances within the Endeavour episodes. I don't remember which episodes, but he appears in a couple of times.
Really? Okay, that's probably something that we need to look up because I want to see this guy.
I don't remember which episodes, but I remember him clearly.
So, so Endeavour, the series revolves around two characters. So it's Inspector Endeavour Morse, and
it's
Fred
not
Thursday.
Inspector.
Oh, he's not an inspector here. Yeah, I forgot.
Here. He is still detective constable.
Yeah. DC.
So this is Endeavour Morse. Endeavour.
Yeah.
portrays the early career of Inspector Morse, before he became a detective inspector. So at this point, he's still a detective constable. Actually, a dropout of Oxford.
He is.
Where he lost. This is interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know why he lost his internship or scholarship?
No.
He lost because that's why he had to drop out of Oxford, because he lost his scholarship over a romantic failure.
Ooh, see, so I never get into a relationship while you're in college.
Yeah.
You made the right choice.
So he drops out of Oxford over
oh my gosh,
over a failure, romantic failure, and then he joins the army, called the Royal Corps in England, as a cipher clerk, which we will see later on that he has a passion for crossword puzzle,
and for cracking codes in general.
Cracking codes,
so I know Spencer Smith likes cracking codes, so he just liked our Facebook page. So awesome. Yeah, that's a good segue.
Yeah. So then then Morse comes into I mean, he enrolls into the police as just a uniform police constable.
Yeah.
Then he's transferred, and that's the pilot episode. He's transferred to what's the station called? Crowley Station.
Crowley Station, yeah.
In Oxford. But interesting, in the very first episode, the pilot episode, we find him ready to turn in his resignation.
Yes.
Which that's intriguing to start
a series about like detectives and stuff.
That is about to resign.
Yeah, and it's quite different too, because usually like for example, like even with American series like Scandal or anything, like in the pilot episode, they want to build up the character first. So having a character like resign, what would eventually be the running theme of the show, that's weird. So that's one of the things that makes it actually special. So, okay, so just a tidbit before we go ahead. So Spencer Smith, by the way, is listening from a Central American country called Honduras.
Who's him?
Spencer Smith actually is a Moody alumni, and he's now serving as a missionary to Honduras. So he's listening to us right now.
Wonderful.
Yes. So I think it's like Buenas noches, Spencer. So it's night at at Honduras right now. So that's amazing. So I'd like to greet Spencer Smith and Anna Smith. So they're missionaries to Honduras. So if you want to send some cash to them for their missions, you can let us know at the letter M. Yeah. So we don't only put people together, we also give money to people. So yeah, we're very charitable. We should be like a 501c nonprofit organization.
Oh, stop it now.
Yeah. So okay, so going back to Endeavour. So I'm glad the people of Honduras is learning about Endeavour, so they can start watching it. Yeah. Okay, so there are two characters. That's basically the centerpiece of Endeavour, which is and it's also kind of weird because it kind of parallels Sherlock. So you have the detective, and then you have in Sherlock you have Dr. Watson, who's kind of like the sidekick. But here in Endeavour, there's Fred Thursday, who was technically his boss, but actually Morse is the one who solves most of the cases, and his boss is just there for support. So he kind of acts like a sidekick rather than as a boss. So there's Inspector Endeavour Morse, and there's Detective Inspector Fred Thursday.
Don't call him an inspector. He's still a detective constable.
No. Fred Thursday.
Yeah, but you said Inspector Morse.
Oh gosh, I know
it's confusing, but he's
it's like the so DC Morse. Okay, just to be safe, DC Morse. Yeah, and he's never called Endeavour in the series too. I mean, there's only a few times, but he's never usually referred to as Endeavour.
See, I don't remember details, but there is one scene in which DI Thursday called, like, I don't know, they're in the car. And something had happened, and he just says Endeavour. Yeah. So it has a very strong weight with it, but I don't remember. I kind of remember the scene, but I don't remember the context of the scene.
Yeah. And I think there's a significance to that, which we will talk about later. So with these two characters, their interplay and all that, so I'd like you to give us a glimpse. So who are these characters, pretty much? Like, what are their, like, types, styles, or anything that you've seen in the show? So let's begin with DC Morse. Moles.
DC Morse.
Oh, yeah, moles.
Well, he's a typical white Englishman. Very much with stereotypes and stereotypes just to match that English culture. What else? Very ambiguous men. Like there's a lot to know about him, but you really have to be looking for it. Yeah. You have to watch very carefully to actually get to the heart of DC Morse. I think he's the kind of character that struggles with authority.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've noticed this, but he's easily bothered and annoyed. Yet he doesn't necessarily speak up. Like he's just like, okay, this annoys me, but I'm gonna do my business.
He's not very combative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that kind of portrays him a little bit like weak, but he's not necessarily weak. It's just like he doesn't want to bother getting into an argument. He'd rather just do his job, prove himself right.
And I think part of that is he knows that he's going to be right in the end anyway.
I don't think. See, that's the difference in between him and Sherlock.
Yeah.
Because Sherlock is super, super secure that he's gonna solve it. Whereas DC Morris doesn't.
Yeah.
Like he really struggles with figuring out the case. Like one thing about him though, he has the guts.
Yeah.
He is very he has the instinct. He's very intuitive. That's the plus about his detective abilities. He has this intuition.
And I think as a detective, it's important that you have intuition.
Right, because, he connects the most random things. Like, you wouldn't think that, we will talk about your favorite episode, probably.
Yeah.
In which he solves a crime based on the lyrics from
the songs that have been playing before somebody else dies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like classical songs.
Yeah, these are classical songs too, so it's not like they're listening to the Beatles or anything.
Right.
Yeah, and by the way, this show is actually a period piece, so it's set in the late 60s. So usually when people ask me about Endeavour, I just tell them, oh, it's a mix between Sherlock and Mad Men. So that's how good it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know what? I actually gave fashion advice to somebody based on this series. So she was like, Hunter Williams' girlfriend, and she was like, yeah, I was like having trouble with like, just wearing a dress because like I have a really short dress, but I really want to wear it. Like, why don't you go mod and wear a dress and then wear jeggings under it? So, yeah.
Yeah. And getting back to DC Morris, he's still young.
He is. He's actually in his late, he's 28. During series 1.
He's young. He's still immature in so many ways. We see that he doesn't really know how to handle women.
Yeah.
There is this, this innocence to him as well. But he and as you start watching Endeavour, you might not think much of DC Morse. You might think that he's actually pretty dumb.
Yeah.
Yet along the way, he proves himself to be pretty brilliant. But it's a kind of brilliance that comes both out of intuition and out of his guts, but also out of him really working hard. He works hard. He works overnights.
Yeah, and you're going to see it in the series. Like, he would be the only person in the office pretty much, like late at night, because I mean, you kind of know it's dark. There's lamps everywhere and all that. So, and I mean, dare I say it, he's workaholic. I've only seen his house once on series 1, and that's when he takes a drink. And this was like after a very complicated case.
There's a lot more in season 2 because he gets into a romantic relationship, so we get to see more of that intimate side of him, including his apartment or his flat, as Brits would call it. He's a very he's very passionate about music, poetry, arts, and as we mentioned, crossword puzzles.
Which is highly unusual for a detective who lives and sees, the badness of humanity every day. Yeah.
Yes, but at the same time, we are also talking about an Oxford educated man who he didn't graduate, but he was educated at Oxford. So that in itself explains it.
And this is just like a tidbit for people who's who's geographically challenged. So Oxford is in England, and that's where the famous Oxford University is at. And I actually googled how far is this from London, because they talk of London as if it's a really far place. So it's apparently 56 miles away from London. But you can take the train.
That is far for us. because the European countries are very small.
Oh yeah,
in comparison to
56 miles already far from you for you guys? No way. Wow. Yeah, because in America it only takes like an hour to
like
to
for
drive
me
through.
for me, this is such a tangent, but for me driving for 2 hours
Yeah.
it's far.
What? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, to Andrew's house it's like 8 hours. So
It's very far.
yeah. Well, I mean, when you're driving with me, it's like you're going to learn more about life and the nice things about life and the bad things about life and all that. So yeah.
DC Moors.
DC Moors,
What did you like about DC Moors?
Okay, the one thing I liked about DC Moors, well, I mean, apart from the style, because like, I mean, it's 60s and
Oh, we
stuff.
also got okay.
Yeah.
We have to talk about Sean Evans,
Oh yeah,
the men playing DC
Yeah.
Moors.
yeah, and we were talking about this before the show. We're like, where did we see this guy? Like, because we've never seen Sean Evans everywhere, but I guess he's been like in a few big
Although-
projects.
I
Yeah,
not very big. Big
Yeah.
for the other side
big
of the
for
world.
for the other side of the world, but not for like American audiences.
di-
Like, he doesn't have the same recall as Benedict Cumberbatch.
I
Yeah.
did see it. I think was it? I think it was before I actually watched Endeavour.
Yeah.
I saw him in the movie co-starring with Benedict Cumberbatch. Actually,
What?
it's a very
so weird.
weird.
Is it also a
movie.
procedural?
No,
Or, like-
it's just a movie.
It's just a movie.
Very weird and very fairly nasty. Like it's about just broken family and friends relationships. But
Yeah.
it's just the kind of weird British
Like very dry, or
try,
like yeah.
it's just kind of poking a little bit of fun at just the
Yeah.
nastiness that there's out there.
Yeah. And
Anyway,
usually
very
like
weird.
the best dramas are produced by the most dysfunctional families. I mean, just saying. It's like, yeah.
But see, even with Benedict Cumberbatch, like he has starred in major movies before Sherlock, but Sherlock made him known.
Yeah. Because, and I think part of that is they've built up their audience over the years. You only see the series like once every 2 years. So, I mean, it's like, and plus when you have like really good writing and you're like, what? That actually happens in real life, kind of thing. So you have that. So one thing, going back to your question, one thing I liked about Detective Constable Morse is he is not pretentious. Like, so, like, if you're going to watch, like, American procedurals, and this is in no way a critique of, like, American procedurals, because, like, these are actually, like, some of the highest rated shows on American television for some reason. So, you know how, like, some detectives would have, like, these colorful personalities, and it's kind of like, that's the bait that they're trying to reel you in, so that you're going to keep watching the series. With Endeavour, there's nothing of that. Like, he's not very flamboyant. His wardrobe isn't really, very, like, significant or anything. There's no, like, defining thing about his wardrobe. So, like, with Sherlock, you have the coat, and then you have the funny hat. So, that's Sherlock. With Endeavour, like, he doesn't really have, like, it doesn't stand out. Like, and the way that he carries himself, I mean, even though like sometimes he may seem cocky and arrogant, like there's no he's not the kind of guy who would change the air of the room when he walks in.
Not at all. He wouldn't even be noticed.
Exactly.
He wouldn't even be noticed. And but that's again, he is so real.
Yeah.
Like he's a real person.
Yeah.
He is a real, a regular detective.
Yeah. And he's not a big personality either, which is and I think it's a cultural thing, because I've noticed this in other British series as well. Their television actors are not big stars. They're just working television actors. And, like, they're basically all working for the story, which is kind of, like, different with the American approach to, like, making TV.
But that's also because the British TV and the British culture doesn't make a big fuss.
Yeah.
As Americans do.
Yeah. It's like
they're still very conservative in many regards. So, like,
Yeah.
they just let kind of the characters present themselves, or the actors present themselves, and just here is what you see on the screen. This is what it is. They don't make it super splashy and sparkly and make it more than it actually is.
Yeah, they make the story stand out more.
They kind of let the viewer decide whether the actor is good or not.
Yeah, and I think it's also a difference in training, because here in America it's more of like it's more of like personality driven celebrity, and then over there on the other side it's more of like story driven.
Oh yeah,
like they're not actually going to be making a single episode unless the writing is like really really good. So it's not like here in America where you have to produce an episode at least like once a week. So you get like good episodes and then you get like okay, we can get by kind of thing. Like over there, like okay, I only have like 4 or 3 episodes for this series, but it's like they have to be like really good. So I think it's like part of that.
You're right.
Yeah, and I mean. Going from what you're saying about reality, I mean, in real life, those are the detectives that are working on real life cases. Very unassuming. They're not really like big personalities, but they get stuff done. So and that's the one thing I like about him. Like, you could basically say you're like sitting in front of the telly, and you're sitting in front of the telly, and you're like, yeah, I can be like that guy. And that's amazing. That's the kind of relatability that we should be aiming for.
Again, getting back to Sherlock.
Yeah.
When you watch Sherlock, you just know there's no way that anybody is actually that smart.
Yeah.
As Sherlock. It's there's a lot of fiction to it. Whereas with DC Morse and with Endeavour, it's very real. Like those might as well be real cases.
Yeah.
And that might as well be a real detective who could solve the case just the way DC Morse did.
Yeah, and the one thing I like about this series too is the procedure in which they solve the cases. So they give you like consciously like random facts, and you're like, okay, I kind of know that at the end these things are going to be related, but right now I just don't see how it's related. And then like at the end, and that's why I think the series is also written for like Americans. At the end, there's like the big tie-up, wherein like, oh, okay, that makes sense, kind of thing. I guess if it's only for like for British television, then you don't really need that tie-up. But if you want to go global, come on, you got to appeal to the American audiences. You need to kind of tie it up too. So that's why like the first episode, the mystery there, and I guess these would be spoilers. So at the end, the priest who was about to be killed, he had like a bunch of random numbers up to basically those are numbers for hymns. So kind of innocuous. It's like, okay, numbers for hymns. He also likes chemistry and all that. So apparently what that is those hymn numbers are the atomic numbers for certain chemicals in the periodic table of elements. And then what you have to do is you have to put those atomic numbers into symbols and then assemble them, and that's the killer. And like, what?
The word, yeah.
Yeah, and then the line was, that was elementary. And like, that was a dig at Sherlock. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that alone, I'm like, what? How do you think of that? It's like, that is so weird. And like, that's where his cipher background comes in. Yeah, so he's a cipher, so he uses crack codes. Yeah. So, I mean, stuff like that, like, wow. I mean, it doesn't look too far-fetched, but you're like, wow, how can anyone think of that?
But it's still, again...
It's still grounded in reality.
Exactly. Like, it's not impossible.
Yeah.
Anyone could think of that, actually.
Okay, so I'm just going to go like on a little bit of rabbit trail here because I'm going to upload this picture of Endeavour for our Twitter fans who are like still looking for something.
Sean Evans
here at Endeavour.
You mean
So
Sean Evans?
There's Sean Evans, and then there's Jake, and then there's Fred Thursday, and then there's Bright. So actually, there's kind of like four. Right. There's actually like 4 big characters here, not just 2. Yeah, I like Bright, although he's kind of annoying. So Bright is the new boss of the Crowley station, where D.I. Thursday and D.C. Morse are working, and then there's Jake. Jake is kind of like the
Jake.
semi-villain, because like he's kind of like resentful of Morse. Because Morse is like this constable, and like, but he's solving the cases. He's like making it work.
I mean, D.S. Jakes, he is superior in rang to DC Morse.
Oh yeah.
But he's not as smart. He's not as brilliant. He doesn't really solve the cases as easily. He doesn't think the way DC Morse does. And he, D.S. Jakes is just a kind of very annoying character, and he's envious. And he just, he does go by the books. He goes by the books, but he doesn't have that sparkle. However, though, he can be pretty vulnerable. I should have watched all of the episodes again.
I remember that one time.
There's an episode when he is completely drunk because some part of his family history had come up.
Yeah.
And he is just completely broken, completely devastated, and he admits it.
Yeah.
And he actually lets DC Morse help him. So that's unusual for D.S. Jakes, and also, he at times he would stand up for DC Morse.
Oh yeah, and actually the thing that you mentioned a while ago, that was in complete that was like a complete opposite from one of the earlier episodes when he catches D.S. Jakes dating Fred Thursday's daughter, and and basically he was like, so can you help me out with this? He was he was telling Morse, and Morse is like, well, you can help me out with one thing, just stay away from her. And and that's a big that's like in big opposition to whatever happens later. So there's a big development with their relationship, no matter how thorny it is.
I mean, they're not buddies, but they're still friends. That makes sense.
Yeah. So and I mean, it's like from a guy perspective, this is how friendships with guys work. So it's not like all like, oh my gosh, let's cuddle by the couch, or like let's eat like cotton candy and talk about boys. That's not how we're friends. We're friends because we do the same things. So I mean, in their case, even though sometimes they may have like some disagreements, like you can kind of like argue that like they have something as friends, and at least they're kind of like civil to each other. So that's the nice thing. We haven't talked about Bright yet, right?
No, but we haven't talked about D.I. Thursday.
Oh, we haven't. D.I. really? Thursday is like it's like. I don't know if I can qualify this as a bromance yet, or like it's more of like a father-son. Really? I think it's a father-son kind of thing.
Exactly. He sparks that kind of, I don't know, that familiar face from it's that fatherly presence, and that is actually how he acts towards Morse, because he kind of takes Morse under his wing. Yeah.
So Morse is played by Sean Evans, and D.I. Thursday is played by Roger Alam. Yeah, so, okay, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just like, okay. So, Fred Thursday, he, in the very first episode, we see him kind of take Morse under his wing. Yeah. Because he sees potential. And he sees in D.S. Morse what nobody else did. Yeah. And that takes, that takes time, that takes observation, that takes that skill of recognizing the good in people, and that's a fatherly aspect to it. And all along the way, he protects Morse like no other.
And like, if you're going to start watching the series, you're going to find out that Morse actually isn't supposed to be where he's at. He acts as a bagman, and like in American jargon, a bagman is somebody who collects money for the mafia. So I'm like, what? They're in the mafia? But like in Britain, a bagman means he's an assistant. So an assistant to D.I. Thursday. So since he isn't a sergeant yet, he's not even supposed to be in that job. But for some reason, he's in that job. So that's how big of a trust D.I. Thursday has for D.S. Morse. And this is actually something that Bright, their new boss, has been pestering Fred Thursday about. He's like, well, he's not even a sergeant, and he's there. So and he's actually he's been successful in relegating D.S. Morse to general duties. So general duties in British police is just filing paperwork and all that. So there's really no field work or anything. So he was successful up to the second episode of the first series, where like Bright was like, oh, okay, fine, I bring him on because like he's starting to make progress in that. So Bright is kind of annoying at times because he's like, why are you preventing Morse?
By the way, you should just watch interviews with the guy who plays Sia's Bright. He's such a kind man in reality.
Yeah,
he's such a kind man. Like, I don't know, by watching him in the TV show, you would think he's the same because he has that kind of figure, you know, the annoying figure and annoying voice. But when you actually listen to him in real life, he's such a kind man.
Yeah, and that's another thing with British training in acting, voice. It's like you can change your voice, but like it's still good. Yeah, and so Bright is played by Anton Lesser. Yeah.
There was sorry, I want to go back to DI Thursday for a bit.
Yeah.
It's very interesting to really watch the development of the relationship between Morse and Fred Thursday along the episodes.
Yeah.
Because at the end, you haven't watched it, I spoiled it for you.
Well, let's start at the beginning. So like at the beginning, so it's kind of like very paternal. And then there's like one scene where so after Endeavour gets knifed on the side, so he came home with Fred Thursday, which is it's kind of like a no-no in their family because like his family was in danger before by his work. So like he invited Morse to come home, and and Morse was like, no, I'm fine, I can drive and stuff, but he was like really sleepy already. So he sat on the couch and like just fell asleep, and Thursday was like, oh. And he gets Endeavor's coat and like, places it on him like a blanket, and then he closes the door and like just lets him sleep pretty much. And I was like, that is so cute.
And all along the way, Fred Thursday just stands up for him. And this is all I'm going to tell you. The very last episode of season 2, we find Morse and his girlfriend talking future plans, thinking about moving away from Oxford.
Yeah.
And that comes, that consideration of Morse giving up police comes from hearing that D.I. Thursday is thinking about retiring.
Yeah.
So to Morse, the relationship with Fred Thursday was so strong and so tight that he doesn't really find any purpose anymore and any sort of enjoyment, satisfaction. That's a better word. Satisfaction in actually being a detective without his mentor. So that's how tight they are.
Yeah. And I mean, that's what happens when you've been working with somebody for very long and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I get on with this?
Like, I don't know this without that person.
Yeah, see, that's what I felt like when Andrew wasn't coming back. I was like, wait, okay, I don't know. So, yeah, they paid me like an undisclosed sum of money to be able to stay here, so.
That is not true. Let me tell you. We are bankrupt. Not really bankrupt, but we don't have that kind of money. He's talking about.
Yeah. So I would understand why he would, not go with police work if Thursday isn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Sia's Bright. Chief Superintendent Bright.
Yeah, played by Anton Lesser.
I've never heard of him before.
Yeah, I've never heard of him before, but I guess he's been a member of the Royal Shakespeare Company. So I guess he's more of a theater actor.
Probably.
But like I mean, in England, like theater actors and TV actors, it's very fluid. Yeah, it's very fluid. Yeah. It's not like here where like, oh, you're Broadway or like whatever. Right. So yeah, so he's on Game of Thrones. Anton Lesser, he's playing Qyburn, or is that how you pronounce it, or is it Qyburn?
I have no idea.
Qyburn, yeah, I haven't seen Game of Thrones. Yeah, because like I'm gonna get addicted, and then like I won't be able to do homework.
Oh, so, did you? Getting back to DI Thursday, did you know that Roger? Is that how you pronounce his last name?
I think so. I don't know.
Alum.
Roger Alum. It's
anyway,
probably Alum.
Roger.
Yeah. Roger.
He also plays in V for Vendetta, and he's playing in The Book Thief.
Yeah.
Major movies.
And Sean Evans, by the way, if you haven't heard of Sean Evans, so Sean Evans is like, he's pretty young actually. He's 34 playing a 28-year-old, so I guess it's fine. Yeah, it's not kind of awkward and stuff. So This guy, he just stayed pretty much, on the other side of the pond. Like, he's never, like, he doesn't really have, like, a lot of projects around here. And I'm looking at his...
Wait, are you talking about Sean Evans now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And, like, I'm looking over at his filmography, and, yeah, he's been mostly, like, TV. He's in Being Julia. That was a big film in 2004 with Annette Bening. But, I know.
You know,
that's kind of like a big American movie before.
I think Sean Evans. Way to go for us. We started with C.S. Bride, and now we're back at Sean Evans.
Yeah.
But Sean Evans, he is quite charmful.
Yeah, which is kind of like awkward because like when you look at him at first, he's like, oh, it looks kind of ordinary.
You kind of don't give a dime on him.
Yeah.
But then as the story. Unwraps, you find him charming.
It's the bone structure.
I don't know about the bone structure.
I think it's a bone structure. It's like because like now I'm looking at him like it's the bone structure. It's like
and I think
no, even like Benedict Cumberbatch. Like look at Benedict Cumberbatch. Like the first time you look at him, you're like, wow, he looks kind of weird. But like the more you look at him, it's like, oh my gosh, the bone structure. It's like
But Sean Evans, I think I really think that people really like Endeavour in the specific TV shows or TV series has become such a beloved character because of Sean Evans.
Yeah,
he really enhances the character. He just fits right into the role.
Yeah,
and he's not. The thing about him is that he's not trying to imitate anyone.
No, he's not.
He's very faithful to the original character in the novels. And he just tries to bring his own understanding and his own flavor to the character, but he doesn't. You can tell it's very natural.
Yeah,
he doesn't try to imitate any actor or try to be. What was the guy who initially played Inspector Morse? John.
Is it John Shaw?
Thaw.
John
maybe?
Thaw. Yeah, I think it's John Thaw. Yeah, his daughter is actually playing the journalist.
Right.
The Sentinel.
Right. Yeah. So, he's unique. And there's something very distinct and even compulsive about his expressions.
Yeah. And I think like part of that is like his eyes look guarded pretty much. Like, I mean they're not like overly expressive, but they're not like super stoic at the same time. They're just guarded. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like even like on his publicity stills and all that, like there's always like that far off look that like
even in real life, he kind of has that innocent look to him.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's like,
Which, speaking of the characters in the movie, and since we got ourselves started on C.S. Bride, that's the opposite. Like, C.S. Bride is very stoic. He doesn't express any feelings.
Oh, no.
Like,
no.
D.S. Morse gets stabbed? Oh, he'll be fine.
It's part of the job.
It's job. Like he's C.S. Bride is very old fashioned. He still wears his royal uniform.
Yeah.
He just kind of gives orders all the time and doesn't do much.
Yeah, it's like the old guard pretty much. Still trying to do everything by the old rules, and we see a lot of like clash between him and Morse because Morse would be taken off a case, but then he's still working on it, and even like D.A. Thursday is like, I already took you off the case, and like, so this is what I found out, and like what he finds out is actually like, oh, that's actually helpful,
but in Morse, okay, he doesn't. Again, he's not like Sherlock, where he knows that he will solve the case, but he also knows that without him, things would either not be solved, or will take a much longer time. Yeah,
and I think that's a very good recipe for a prequel for a very well loved detective such as. Who would eventually be Inspector Morse. Like, because like with prequels, that's what you're looking for. Like, how did he arrive at this? Like, how did he become this? And of course, I think that tells us like one of life's biggest lessons, that you don't arrive at greatness unless you've experienced failures, at the beginning first.
And unless you have sacrificed something.
Exactly.
And that's, I don't know if we're gonna get to talk about themes portrayed in this particular TV series, but
actually, let's get to it now because like we're kind of like going into moody stories already. I know, huh?
Oh, you know what? There are more characters I wanted to talk about.
Do you want it to percolate further?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention a couple of more more characters. PC Jim Strange.
Yes, Strange is actually a big character in the Inspector Moore series.
Right, like he is just the perfect faithful friend. He's, you know, although he's just police uniform, he is just so, you know, so prideful of
and
his job
too.
and his position, and he's proud to serve, he's proud to help, and he's very encouraging. Like, he is probably one of the main supporters of Morse throughout the episodes. Yeah,
especially like whenever he gets taken off a case. I remember I think it was like episode 3 where they were dealing with the botanist who died. It was 3, right? Yeah. And he was taken off the case. And it was actually Strange who gets him some of the information, even though he was already taken off the case. So, like, yeah.
And I really, really like and enjoy Dr. Max de Brin.
He's the coroner who's usually at the scene, like, inspecting, you know. You know what? I noticed that whenever he inspects a body and he would give, like, a time frame for that, like, it's always within 4 hours. Like, oh, time of death is between like 9 to 12 or something. It's always like within 4 hours. I don't know if it's like a real thing.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could
if you're a coroner, can you let us know?
But he, you know, it's funny to watch him because he seems to enjoy himself. And he is, if you will, very good at his craft.
Yeah.
So, I know, he's just an interesting character.
And he's sassy.
He is sassy.
He is sassy. I was like, so there was like one point where Endeavour, so he arrived at the scene and he was already there, and he questions. I think this was the episode. This was the episode with the priest who died. It's the first episode. And he was questioning, are you sure that he died at that hour? And he gives like this super sarcastic remark and like, you know, kind of like telling Morris that like, are you really questioning my job? Because I've been doing this for a long time. So he gives like this really snarky remark and like, It's like, yeah. So this guy is sassy but funny.
He is.
Yeah.
He is.
So I guess when you're working at that line of work, it's like, you know.
Yep.
So... Okay, so we're going on themes.
Hey, we haven't listened to any songs, though. I really wanted to get to songs.
Oh, okay. So, okay, well, I guess we can go on music break. And then, do you want to go with themes or do you want to go straight to moody stories?
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll decide. But you probably should explain why we have the song choices for tonight.
So we have classical songs tonight, which is something that we don't usually do here at the letter M. Because, you know, we're kind of like, oh, yeah, sure.
Contemporary.
So, yeah, we're kind of contemporary. But... the reason why we're choosing these songs, and these are like classical arias and like songs from opera and you know, and all that, is because opera and basically classical music as a whole plays a big part in Endeavour.
And
so
we did mention that it actually helps Morris solve an entire case.
Yes, in my most favorite episode of the series, which is episode 2, series 1 of Endeavour. So the killer has been killing people, and the way that Morse actually tracked who was killing these people is by listening to the lyrics. So at the end of these operas, there are like certain things happening, like, you know, somebody getting immured in a wall, or, you know, or somebody like just melting in the sun or something like that. So those are lyrics that are in songs, or those are, yeah, I mean, there's lyrics in songs, but those are in the lyrics of these songs that come from these operas. So what happened was, the kind of death that's described in these lyrics are the actual deaths that occurred in the series. And so they were able to tie together to like, oh yeah, this guy is like really brilliant, like, you know, psychopathic and all that. So he was able to solve a case through these songs. So we're going to be playing some of these songs. So don't switch it off. Like when you start hearing like Maria Callas.
Enjoy.
Like, yeah.
Please enjoy. They're, you know, wonderful.
Yeah, y'all need like some cultured ears, just saying. So
amen to that.
Amen. Y'all need some cultured ears. Just saying. Preach it. Preach it. So we're going to start with Maria Callas. So Maria Callas is one of the greatest sopranos. And here we're going to listen to a recording of her singing one of the songs from Tosca.
Yes.
Yes, and Tosca is one of the operas that was featured in this episode. So it was really interesting because Tosca was the last song that was played in this episode of Endeavour Fugue. So Tosca's ending is basically somebody being like pushed off the side of a building. So that was supposed to be the death of the character that was supposed to be killed off, but of course, which was Detective Inspector Thursday, apparently. So I thought it was a girl. I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna push off the girl. Like, the girl's just tied up in the ceiling. Like, oh shoot, it's not her.
She was in the attic.
Yeah, so that was a big twist. I was like, what? So
yeah.
So this is like the time when D.I. Thursday almost got killed. So we're going to be playing Vici d'Arte. This is the beginning of Act 2 of the opera Tosca, and it's Maria Callas singing this, and she's actually singing this at the La Scala, which is a very big opera house in Milan, Italy. So here's Maria Callas with Vici d'Arte, which you've heard on the series Endeavour, only here on the letter M. And that was Renata Tebaldi from Madama Butterfly, Un bel di vedremo, only here on the letter M. So if you're wondering why we're playing glorious music, yeah, if you're wondering why we're playing like glorious music, that's SLG appropriate anyway, even though it's in Italian. So we're playing that because it's Endeavour Night, and Endeavour is very big on classical music and opera. So I actually found out who killed somebody because of that music. Yeah, so that's how good of a music it is. Yeah. Okay, so before we go ahead and talk about Endeavour, we have 3 moody stories waiting to be advised, and like
wow, 3 of them.
3 of them, yeah. I got them from the student dining room. So
okay.
So there's a lot of hurting and broken people out there. Yeah. So here it is, Moody Stories.
Welcome to Moody Stories. We're sharing your brokenness. Keep put the pieces back together.
Okay, so we have 3 moody stories, and the one thing that makes these moody stories special is 2 of them are from women. So,
What are you playing?
What? I don't know how to give like the female perspective. I mean, it's like... So there has to be like somebody here. Anyway.
So that's your way of saying, I'm glad you're here, Adelina.
Yes, that is my way of saying, I'm glad you're here. I'm honored that you have taken some time from your busy schedule to, to grace us with your regal imperial presence.
Thank you.
Yeah, because this woman is so busy. I don't even know if she sleeps. It's like you'd see her like up here on wait, this is not Kroll 4. What building is this? Sweeting 4. Yeah. And I'm like, did you go to sleep? And like, no, I'll be fine. I'm just like really tired. I'm like, yeah, this is like a really hardworking woman. It's like, yeah.
I usually find me either up here on Sweeney 4 or up on Kroll 8 or 10.
Yeah, because she also works for Moody Radio.
Or sometimes you find me in my room, but
yeah,
that's about it.
Who's your roommate? We don't. Or do you have
single? I'm in a single room.
Oh, so are you like hard to get along with, or like?
What do you think about me?
Huh?
What do you think about me? That I'm hard to get along with?
No, I think you're easy to get along with, but like you're just not in your room a lot, kind of thing. Because like you run Moody. You and the Romanians run Moody. We actually made a joke about it like once when I was like having a breakfast with the Romanians. So apparently there's like a Romanian in every part of Moody right now. So like there's like 3 Romanians in donor resource management. So they have the money. So if you're trying to do something for Moody Campus Radio and Moody Radio in general, it's like you have funds. And then, there's Romanians working for food service. So if, they decide to have like a Romanian strike.
Public safety.
There's public safety. Yeah, Lavi is in public safety. And like,
And then I'm, the radio voice.
It's so weird. So
man.
Yeah. Anyway, so
Moody Stories.
Moody Stories. Okay, so this is from Berta from St. Charles, Illinois. So Berta writes, "Dear the letter M, there is this guy who what? Wait, hold on.
Did you read this before?
Huh?
Did you read these before?
No, I'm like okay. No, I guess I typed it wrong. So because like this is verbally like given to me, and she actually wanted to call in, but I was like, I am so afraid that phone is going to blow up. So trust me, it will. Yeah. So okay. So dear the letter M, there is this guy on my brother floor who keeps texting me and calling me and asking me to go out with him. So the first time, I told him, yeah, I'll go out with you. Little did I know that it was just going to be the two of us. So, what do I do with this situation? So guy asked her out, and stuff.
So he obviously has some sort of romantic interest.
Yeah.
But
what does she do if like this guy just says like, oh, let's hang out? Like, there's no like, we're going on a date. I think that's what's happening here because moody guys knowing moody guys. Yeah, I think that's what's happening here.
I'm more of the straight up person.
Yeah.
I would just tell him, hey, I'm not. I get a feeling that you have romantic interest in me and that you want to pursue that, but I'm honestly not available for it. And it's not because there's something wrong with you. It's just because I'm just not interested.
Ooh.
So, I mean,
that's gonna break like simple moody boy's heart.
But that's the problem. Yeah. Like we don't know how to take reality in. Like it's okay. I'm simply not interested in you. I don't think there is a problem with it, and that's just how things are, and that's how I'm gonna tell you. I don't want to kid you around. It's
yeah.
That's how I feel, and that's what it is. Or I would just completely avoid him. But I think out of the two versions, the first one is.
Oh, that's gonna hurt
better.
more if you like just completely avoid him. It's like he's going to
then
be like,
gonna think,
oh my gosh, is there something that I did wrong?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. He's gonna think there's something he did wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would just tell him.
Yeah.
And it might hurt him for a few days, but he'll get over it.
Give him ice cream.
Give him ice cream.
Ice cream solves everything. No, yeah. Okay, this is like something that I'm like super riled up about moody guys in general. Like when I ask a girl out on a date, I tell her, okay, I'd like to take you out for a date. It's like, very clean. Like, I'm not like, well, let's hang out, in the park, like all alone kind of thing. And
that what kind of bothers me. And also, because we did talk a lot about relationships here at Moody.
Yeah.
What really annoys me is the reactions we get to even a simple fact that, again, I'm not interested in you.
Yeah.
But there's a whole drama that develops after that.
Yeah.
Or
everything becomes awkward.
I'm like, it's just like just as simple like that, It's, I'm simply not attracted to you.
But we can still be friends.
But we can still be friends. Like, I don't, but that is just like, oh, you just take it to a complete different level. And, and also that, kind of, it's the same thing with telling someone that you like, if I would go, I don't know to whom. I would go to a guy and tell him, hey, I have an honest, genuine romantic interest in you.
Thank you. Yeah.
I'm not telling you that. But even
this is something that I've been telling girls too. It's like, if you like a guy, don't wait for him.
Either way, like even if we were talking about the guy expressing his feelings or the girl expressing her feelings, the reason why we don't express clearly our feelings is because of those reactions, those stupid reactions.
Exactly.
Where, we just like, we don't talk to you anymore, we'll make it awkward. This is what did I do? I just expressed something.
Exactly. There's nothing wrong with like, Yeah.
But that's why we don't have the freedom to actually express our feelings, because we are afraid of the awkwardness, and we are afraid. Honestly, I've been in a couple of situations like that where I felt very, very strongly towards a male.
Yeah.
And I wanted to express my feelings in a very gentle and normal way, but I was honestly afraid that I was going to lose even what I had.
Yeah.
Meaning his friendship. So that's why, because the culture has kind of structured itself that way, the Christian culture.
Yeah.
I didn't have the freedom to tell him, and I had to like kind of suppress my feelings, and deal with it because I was afraid not to lose that person, even as a friend.
And that sucks, because like sometimes you have like the best platonic, like friendly relationships with people who is actually like kind of like slightly attracted to you. It's like, So and the thing is, like, sometimes, like, slight attractions that, you know, you feel like, oh my gosh, that's infatuation. They're actually, like, friendly feelings that, like, if you allow them to grow, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, we are really good friends. So, for the guy, though, I feel for you why you're not really direct, but, like, come on, dude. You're the guy. You have to be direct. Because you know what? These habits that you're developing in, like, you know, asking a girl out or, like, taking her out on a date or everything, these are things that you carry over into the marriage. If you're going to communicate this muddily, I guess, if there's a word like that, if you're going to to communicate this way, then it just kind of, like, tells us that, like, you know what? When you get married, you're probably not going to be having good communication anyway. So it's time for you to work on that. You're at Moody. Yeah. So, okay. So, thank you very much, Berta, for that. Okay, our second Moody story is from K-pop of New Jersey. And her question is, so there's this guy who I've been talking to. So, talking with quotes. So, that means that, like, you know, I guess, I don't know. It's a
whatever
weird
that
time.
means.
Yeah, so talking. So, I guess they're kind of, like, interested to each other or whatever and all that. So, I took him to meet my brothers. But the thing is, my brothers didn't like him because they thought he was too much of a girl. I don't know. How do you define this? Okay, so what do I do? Do I keep on talking to this guy?
I hurt for the guy right now. I totally hurt.
Whoever you are.
You know, there are gentlemen out there who, you know, have
slightly effeminate,
that their feminine little part of themselves more developed than other men. I don't generally think that's a problem.
It's
I mean, okay, it's
okay.
This is just
why did she even introduce him to her brothers if they're just talking?
I don't know what that talking means. Probably there's something more, and probably she wanted to get. Because family is important and family knows you the definitely. Best, she probably wanted to get some feedback from people whom she trusts the most.
Yeah.
So that that would make sense, but what can you do? I mean,
guy.
I don't think that's a good enough reason. But I probably also understand the perspective of the brothers because. I mean, what should we call him? The boyfriend? Boyfriend?
Or like, I don't know, because they're just talking. So, okay, interested guy.
The interested guy. Potential boyfriend. Has to be able to protect her.
Yes.
Both, not both, on all levels, emotionally, spiritually, physically.
Physically, yeah.
So, that's where I struggle. Like, if a man is not able to protect me, I personally would struggle, but I don't necessarily think it's a problem because there are great men out there who are not necessarily the most
they don't look physically imposing and all that.
Exactly. So but I think that's the perspective of the brothers. They wish, because they probably protected her along the way. They feel strongly about that, because once she's gonna start dating and once she's gonna get married, she's gonna have her own family. That's gonna be the primary male presence in her life. Yeah. So they just want to feel like it's a secure transition. Yeah, that they're giving her away to somebody who's worthy. Yeah, and like, and this is just the first time you've met. I mean, this is the first time that your brothers have met this guy, and oh my gosh, it's so bad. So if they feel like, he's not like man enough, I guess, or something like that, I think that's like a challenge for your, interested guy to show your brothers that, I'm actually interested in her. Like, I may not be like, manly at some points, but, I can protect her. I can like provide for her and all that if this guy is willing to pursue a relationship with you. I think though, before you kind of like go to that part wherein like you're worrying about what your brothers are saying, I think you guys need to figure it out yourselves. Like, what are you really? Because I get a sense that they don't really know what they're doing and where they're at. Because if you're just like talking, like, are you like dating or are you just like hanging out together alone or something? Like, just make one observation. I just think to me it's very funny in a sense to watch this subculture of Christian dating.
Yeah.
Like, there is this, this culture that you introduce the guy to your family, even if you're not dating yet.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously now. I mean, I understand.
It used to be like a big part.
I understand that you want to get the approval of your family, but come on, it's not even dating yet.
Yeah.
You get to know the person first. Get to be friends, and don't make it awkward, because it's always awkward when you introduce the guy in that way. Just create a context where people can become friends, where the guy, if he's committing to you, can become friends with your family. It's just, I don't know, like, I just think it's it's too forced and awkward.
And there's there's emotional attachment very early on when you guys don't even have like that attachment yourselves. That's hard. Yeah, because if you didn't decide to go with a relationship, your family's going to be like, oh, what happened with oh, bless his heart, and why so,
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And then your family's disappointed, you're disappointed.
I mean, it's not it's just girls have this mentality that, oh, once I'm gonna start dating, I'm gonna marry this guy.
No, you
of
don't
course
have to.
the ultimate intent is to marry. Like, it's not, you're not dating just for the sake of dating, or just for having fun. But it doesn't mean that you have to marry that person.
Exactly.
Like, it's, this is the only guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
because once you go into a dating relationship, you'd actually have more opportunities to discover, okay, is this really the person that I'm going to get married to? Because sometimes, when you're dating, you'd figure out oh my gosh.
So point is, when a guy asks you to date, he's not asking you to marry him.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Just take it easy.
Okay, just think of it this way. It's free food. Okay? It's you don't refuse free food, right? Like whenever a girl would ask me out on a date, I'm like, yeah, sure, where do you want to take me? I'm pretty high maintenance, so you gotta make this date really good. So, it's free food. It's free conversation with somebody who might be potentially interesting. And if it's boring, and it's one for the books. You're like, so I went with this boring date once, and whatever. So at least you can tell people, in the future, I went on a boring date once. Yeah. So,
which is fine.
Yeah.
Why make a big deal out of it?
Just remember, you only need one person in your life to get married to. You don't need to get married to 2 or 3 people. So, Andrew. Yeah.
Whatever that was supposed to mean.
Okay. And our last moody story is Chuck from New York City. And oh my gosh. This is, I can feel for him. Okay, because he writes, I am getting frustrated at the prospect of not yet having a relationship at this point in my life. I'm 21 and my friends are in a relationship already. What can you say? And I feel for him because these are things that me and a lot of guys have been talking about,
you have,
especially me. I'm 42. I don't have anyone, and
you're 42. You were born 87?
What? I can't even. No, 88.
88.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm 1 year off.
Hi. I can feel you, bro.
So here's the thing. We have to acknowledge that natural desire of having a partner. It's a natural desire.
Exactly.
And almost everyone has it. So we have to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's also acknowledging the way God is directing your steps.
Exactly.
And here's where you see a lot of broken relationships where people try to push that. It's not the right time, but you're still trying to push it because you really, really desire it. And then you get into relationships and they just end up in brokenness and divorce and, a lot of messiness. So it's just I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be patient. And I know it's hard when, Ecclesiastes talks about, love has its time.
Yeah.
I know it's hard because you have that natural desire in you.
Yeah.
But you gotta be patient, and you gotta honestly trust and genuinely trust God with that as well.
Yeah.
I'm 22 and I've never dated.
Ooh.
So
That's
not
is
only
that an announcement or is that like you know,
that's just an encouragement to this Chuck from New York.
okay. Yeah.
You know, it's not that I don't have a date right now, but I've never dated.
Okay.
And I struggle with it at times, but you know, I look at what God has for me right now, and I have to acknowledge the fact that I don't think I could have done what I've done, or I couldn't have been where I've been if I had a relationship of that kind.
Yeah.
And I have to be thankful for that. I don't know. You know, I had times when I thought, oh, okay, is there something wrong with me? And yes, I'm in that stage where a bunch of my friends are getting married.
Yeah. It's so annoying. They're all on Pinterest.
It's interesting because when I grew up in my church, I always used to go to even the Sunday school.
Yeah.
I used to go with the kids, you know, kind of a generation in front of me. I always used to hang out with the older kids.
Yeah.
Because I was just maturing very, very fast. So, because of growing up with friends a bit older than me, you know, I'm at the stage where all of my good friends are now married. My best friend already has a 2-year-old at home. My best friend.
Oh my gosh.
So it's not, you know, we still have a very great relationship, except she now has certain needs that I can't attend to.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what having a family of that kind of means. I don't know what growing up a child means. But we are still friends. But you know, there is, you know, that, I don't know, lack of understanding.
Yeah.
So I know it's hard. I know it's hard, but hey, if I don't know, it's where God wants you, and yes, you have a natural desire, but don't stretch it too much. Like, pray for it, genuinely pray for it, and express your desire, but don't, you know.
Yeah. And the thing is, like, when it's actually the right time and you're actually with the right person, everything will just fall into place.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be having like a lot of drama over it because both of you would want the relationship to work. You're both like mature enough. You're both at the right time, pretty much.
But I will also say with that, give a lot of accountability to a buddy, because when you desire so much, you tend to slip on the emotional side, and then once someone somewhat attends to your emotional needs, you immediately fall for it.
Yeah.
Which might not be the healthiest thing.
Yeah. So when you're crying and a guy gives you like, you know, some tissue, it's like, no, he's not dating material. It's like, you know, he's just giving you a tissue. Yeah.
So Chuck, it's fine. You're just 21.
Yeah.
Plenty of time ahead of you.
Yeah, and there's probably like some other things that God has in store for you before you even get married, and these are things that you may not be able to do once you're already married. So, you know, it's a time of discovery. You're 21. It doesn't mean that everyone else is getting married around you that it's the right time for you to marry.
And it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be something wrong with you. I don't know. No.
Let's be honest. Yeah.
Being honest here, I don't know who you are, and there might be some things in your life that need to be fixed up before you can date.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we have 10 more minutes left. I know.
10 more minutes? No, we can't. Wait, it's 9:30.
No, because remember, Recon is following us with Andy and
we can go over time a little bit, maybe.
Oh my gosh, I forgot Andy's co-host.
John.
Is it John?
Yeah, John Holst.
I keep calling him Chris.
Chris.
and he was like, "My name is John, by the way."
And Nathan. I don't know his last name.
Yeah.
But he might be officially joining them as the official third host.
Yeah. So Andy, John, and Nathan. So they're following us after the letter M. Okay, so themes
in Endeavour.
In Endeavour. So if you would like to join us on our conversation, you can go to our Facebook page at theletterm.mcr or on our Twitter page at theletterm on MCR.
Well, there are a couple of themes, if we can call them themes, that I've been noticing, and they're kind of tied into one another. One is commitment. I think if we follow closely, pretty much all the main characters, whether we talk about DC Morse, Dia Thursday, even Diaz Jakes, PC, Jim Strange, even the journalist. I don't know what her name is.
It's like Frazzle. Miss
Frazzle.
Frazzle.
Miss
Yeah.
Frazzle. They are all committed to their community.
Yeah.
They're all committed to the Oxford people. They're committed to, specifically talking about the police side.
Yeah.
They're committed to the safety of the people, to justice. And it's really interesting to even see the character of Morse develop, because he does get emotional.
Yeah.
He does feel for the victims. He spends a lot of sleepless nights just to make sure that he gets faster to the end of the case.
Yeah. He listens to like records, for that one episode.
Right.
Yeah.
He and he gets
All
frustrated when he's missing details and when he's making mistakes, because he takes the guilt of it. He understands that if he's not moving fast enough, other people might die.
Yeah.
And he takes responsibility for that. And with commitment is the idea of, and we kind of brought this up earlier, the readiness to risk and sacrifice.
Yes.
And if we want to talk about things in Endeavour that we can relate to the Christian culture, is this idea of being ready to risk and sacrifice.
Yeah, that's actually something that I think a lot of Moody students are kind of like struggling with when they come to Moody, because practically everyone who comes from Moody, they're like the top dog in their hometowns. So pretty much everything has been served on a platter. It's like they're given like all these like leadership things and like whatever, and then they come here and they're like, oh well, why is nobody telling me that I'm great? And why is nobody just like approaching me to like lead this and lead that? And like, dude, you're in the real world. It's like you have to put in the commitment and the sacrifice.
1,600 people like me.
Yeah, and you need to put in the time commitment and sacrifice some of your time or whatever.
Yeah, but here
work.
when I'm talking about the readiness to risk and sacrifice, I'm really talking about sacrificing for the sake of others.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying it's kind of tying into the idea of commitment, because Morris is ready to sacrifice a lot of his own personal benefits, his health even.
Yeah. Even like when his dad died, he's like, oh, I'll be back in a few days.
Right.
And like, he's back in a few days.
Because he takes a lot of responsibility with it.
Yeah.
And, not to stretch it too much and not to be over spiritualizing.
Yeah.
But are we ready to lay our lives for our brothers?
That's true.
That is my question. That's something I'm struggling with. I don't think I could risk the way Morse risks himself to save other people.
Yeah. And I think part of that is, as Christians, do we have that love? I mean, it all boils down to love. Do you have that love for your community, or even just for like the brothers around you? Because like, I think if you don't have that love, you're not going to have that commitment. And Morse has that love pretty much. It's not just like commitment just because he's getting paid or just because like, people are patting him on the back or anything. It's this genuine love for his community. And as Christians, I mean, it's kind of cliche, bloom where you're planted, but pretty much it's like, if you're not going to have that love, you're not going to bloom where you're planted. And
he's very conscious of the fact that the reward is not going to come from his office. It's not going to come from C.S. Bright, or not even from his mentor, D.I. Thursday. But it's going to come from being able to protect families, people, individuals, his community, his people.
Yeah, because he knows that victims and the people they leave behind, they're just not numbers. They're people. They have stories, and they have like lives and relationships that are destroyed and are like changed forever when stuff like crime happens. It's like, and it's really weird because like, how can you be so committed to a community where there's so much disregard for humanity, where you see like the evils that man can bring about? Like, how do you get committed to that? And like, that's hard, because like you see so much evil every day, and
I'm really curious.
Yeah.
You have to watch second season as well.
Yeah.
But in the last episode, the way it ends is that actually Morse gets framed for a crime he did not commit, for a murder he did not commit. The I Thursday is also being shot. We don't know if he's going to survive. So I'm just really curious with that, because we've been speaking about Morse's commitment and willingness to risk and sacrifice. He's at this point, he's risked a lot and he has sacrificed a lot to the point where he's got framed. So I'm just curious to see third season, which will happen.
Oh
Season 3 will
they've
happen.
been we have the link on our page.
Right.
Although I heard this was going to be like the last 4.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably because you know what, I really appreciate it. I don't want to make out of Inspector Morse a commercial character. They don't want to stretch it too much. So anyway, but season 3 will bring us back to that situation. So I'm curious to see, how has DC Morse continued on that value even if he got framed.
How is he going to trust the same justice system that he's worked for before and now has framed him? Like, how is he going to go back? That's hard because now you have a fractured relationship with that system.
Is he gonna be extremely upset that he got framed and he got put in prison? Or is he still going to keep in mind that he did the right thing?
And, for a lot of Christians too, and I'm not trying to, stretch it, but for a lot of Christians, are you still going to trust and be committed to Christ even though a lot of, bad things are happening in your life? That sometimes you attribute to Christ, oh, why did you allow this? And all that. And, how do you do that? So that's another thing that...
and I think it comes down to... really just as Morse knows who he is. Even if he's frustrated along the way and even if he struggles, he knows that he's a detective. He knows his identity. Same with us. Again, to use your own words, not to stretch it. We don't want to, speak Christianese here, but it's, do we actually live by our identity? And I've been studying Romans and I've been writing papers on it. And
who do you have for Romans?
Dr. V.
Oh, that's why.
Dr.
Okay.
V, it's this idea that we have been introduced in a state of grace. We are very firmly secured in the state of grace. That is where we are. That's our identity. And because of that, we have hope in the glory of God. So no matter of the afflictions that are going to come our way, no matter what will happen, we have to keep in mind our identity and that hope.
And it ties back to Morse. He knows that as a man of justice, his work is very much essential to bringing justice in, even though it may take away from from his time or his commitment to other things. It has to be done, and I think that's a mindset that as Christians we need to have. It has to be done, So wow, time has passed by so fast. Oh my gosh,
so people,
we didn't even get through all of our music breaks.
People, please go watch Endeavour.
Okay, so Amazon Prime is offering a 30-day free trial on Amazon Prime right now. So I've seen Amazon. I've seen Endeavour through the Amazon Prime trial.
And if you have Prime, you'll be able to watch for free the pilot episode in the first season, and also the second season. It's not terribly expensive.
It's like $2 per episode.
Yeah, it's $2 for SD quality, and then $3 for HD. But it's not a lot.
Yeah, it's not a lot, and this series, it's worth it pretty much. Just saying. And there's actually a lot of British jargon that I've learned here. I'm just oh my gosh, what is this? Spanish practices. I'm what are Spanish practices? So so there's a lot, or particular friends. I'm oh my gosh, okay, that's what it means. Yeah, so if you want to brush up on your British, you should...
hey, we should play another song as we end.
Yes, and coming after us, by the way, is Recon with Andy, John, and Nathan. So do you know what they're talking about?
News, current events.
News and current events. So do you know that ISIS is 5 miles away from Baghdad right now as we speak? So yes,
It's crazy. People pray.
yes.
Pray, people pray.
If Baghdad falls, then that means I have Iraq. So that's gonna be a pretty sad state of affairs. So next week, I don't know if you've already approved this, but like next week we're doing hashtag Manly Monday. So if you want to be on hashtag Manly Monday, so what are we talking about on Manly Monday? So Manly Monday, we're going to be having Luke Shoemate and Braden Carson. So Braden Carson is my roommate who looks like Captain America. So yeah, so Luke and Braden are coming here to talk about how to be a man in the city and in the country. Because apparently there are like different standards of being a man in the city and in the country. So hashtag Manly Monday. So join us next week. So we're going to be playing I guess we'll be playing some country songs, manly songs.
Oh,
everything.
Andrew loves country.
I know. So I'm pretty sure he's gonna tune in. So yeah. So it's Manly Monday, and then the next week, we've proposed Magic Night with Zach Wilkie. So we're going to be talking about magic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like our episode before Mission
Let's play some
Conference.
classical music now.
Yes. So
quality music, not country music.
Oh my gosh! Okay, so we're going to leave you with a selection from Aida. So Aida is one of the best operas that you'll ever see in your life. So before you die, see Aida. So this is by Giuseppe Verdi. So I guess you've learned him from Exploring Music, for all of you guys.
You better know who he is.
Oh my gosh. So we're actually going into the last act. So this is the final song of Aida. This is a song that was also featured on Endeavour. And it's called Immenso Fitna, I hope I'm reading this right, O Terra Adios. So it's basically Goodbye Earth in Italian. So thank you very much for joining us, and we hope that you're going to join us on Manly Monday next week, only here on the letter M. Good night. I love you guys, and Adelina also loves you, and Andrew also loves you, and we love each other.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night.